Clone hive mind taking over Manitoba, Canada. Alright, you LARPing morons, this is straight truth that I'm going to be dropping on you guys. Take it or leave it. Screen cap it, because I legitimately might be killed for uploading this. I don't care, however. This is disgusting, and I did not ask for this. Neither did the thousands of people in my hometown, Brandon, Manitoba. This starts when I moved out with my 46-year-old coworker, Elizabeth. I was just turned 18 at the time. She was okay, but I noticed once that when I went to the gym, she came and talked to the receptionist. Whatever, maybe she wants to make sure I'm going to the gym. I don't really care. From then on, whenever I go to the gym, I notice the receptionist goes for the phone. Well, alright, that's a little bit creepy. As time goes on, we have drunk, me mostly, sex. After that stuff goes downhill, and she starts talking crap about me at work, I notice that people are treating me differently. I end up moving out because she starts giving off some messed up vibes, saying stuff like, everything is going to plan, and don't you hate how women can say you assaulted them and they get away with it, while she laughs. She says she knows where my grandparents live, etc. I moved to another location, a house with 4 rooms on the 2nd floor. First neighbor is short and fat and named Raymond. Second is some drunk guy and his girl. Third is a sweet old lady. Can't remember her name, so let's call her Beth. Anyways, I move in, and Raymond comes into my room, talking all the crap in the world about the drunk guy. Let's call him Ron. He is very paranoid about mice, so he gets me to put some wire around an opening in my room. Throughout the months, he does things like this. He comes in and talks crap and vents about his workday. I listen, because I am bored. One day, he knocks and looks at the door frame and notices it is sticking out, so he said he would fix it if I didn't tell Jim. Okay, creepy. I end up telling him about crazy Elizabeth, who is now stalking me. I saw her walk past my place, which isn't too crazy because my town only has 40,000 people in it. However, she was coming back from a store, so I know she could have taken a quicker route back. At this point, I know that Raymond is talking to her. I was in my room trying to sleep, and I heard Raymond in the public bathroom saying, "Hi, yes, this is Braden." And then the cops show up later to take Ron away. I did not mention anything about this to the landlord. Another incident occurred when I was walking up the stairs to my room, and Raymond was talking to me. Then, mid-sentence, he punched the wall and said, "asshole," really loud. Maybe in an attempt to frame me as the landlord was there. Things escalated greatly from there as he was talking about electrocuting people to death if they messed with him. Note, my bed was next to an electrical plug, which I didn't notice at first. Cover was off. By the way, I believe I got herpes from Elizabeth, as I found herpes medication in our bathroom. She did not tell me. One night, I was in my room and noticed that the vents in my room were broken and had cigarettes in them, which Raymond was always very against. He always complained about smelling cigarettes in the house. Suddenly, I heard Raymond in the bathroom messing around with things, and my heart rate increased while dry skin was coming off my legs. I opened the window to get rid of whatever was coming out of the vent, but it did not work, so I called the cops, and Raymond went back to his room, like the little moron that he is. This is my first time typing this out. I apologize for the wait, but you need to know this backstory. The police escorted me to the hospital, where everything was fine. When I went out for a smoke, I saw Elizabeth and Raymond walking away really fast. Doctors there asked me if I wanted to go to the Center for Adult Psychiatry, which I voluntarily admitted myself to, because I was dealing with a lot of stress at the time. They escort me to CAP, and I am greeted by seemingly friendly staff. However, there was a problem. There was this Russian, Thomas Edward Edwins, or Thomas Edwin Edwards, who followed me around whenever I went out for a smoke, etc. He was a very intense, cheeky breaky. I have to say, he had the 1,000-yard stare. He would ask me why I'm here, and how this is a bad place that would still be standing when I left. There was this Inuit kid that was there. I saw him running out the doors and escaping. No one ever spoke of him again. When I first got there, I heard Raymond speaking in the basement and saying how they were good people. About a week into my time there, my days were filled with dread as I waited for something to happen. Then came along Aaron. Aaron, I believed, to be an FBI, CSIS/RCMP agent, as she questioned me about a girl that I had a time with that would later screw me over. At the time, I did not say Elizabeth, because I thought she was with this creep Tom. She kept on questioning me about people that put people into small places. I remember drawing a diagram of a neural network for her to show her how it works. She thought those were the small places that people are put into. When I said I did not know what she was talking about, she seemed surprised. Then one night, I went for a jog on the treadmill they had there, and right after I was done, Lauren, a nurse there, came to get my baseline heart rate. I told another staff about it, and I heard Lauren say something about not calling the police, telling the other staff to stay quiet. At this point, I knew that something was up. When I went to my bed, I rubbed my bed sheets together, which produced a lot of static electricity. I laid down for a while, accepting what was going to happen. But then I heard a scream from Aaron in the observatory room, a locked-up room with cameras inside of it. So I walked out and talked to another patient that was walking around. We hit a smoke while this 70-year-old named Dennis knew Tom, followed us and asked us if we had any last words. I went back to my room and was getting full-on electrocuted, and I knew from Aaron talking previously that the plows outside were actually the FBI/CSIS/RCMP, so I started praying to them to come help out loud. And I also said if there anyone was FIB and CAP to say my name is Jonathan when they approached me. That one patient said that as he passed, and I asked him what was going on. He said to grab the pool cue and use it as a bat on the nurses. He thought that I was messing with his heart, which I was not, as I was being messed with as well. He left for bed, and at this point, I was shitting bricks. I left for my bed, but came back later to see Brian, a nurse, unconscious/dead in his seat at the receptionist's desk. I could not believe it. Going out for a smoke, we'll be back soon. Naturally, I noped the hell out of there. However, Lauren sees me. Now I am in my bed, praying with all my might for God to help me survive this hell. The power goes off a couple of times, and eventually, the plows turn off, implying that the nurses are listening in on my pleas for my life, and they made a move. My heart rate is through the roof, and I am sweating like crazy, scared shitless. Doors are slamming shut and open, and Lauren keeps on coming in to check in on me. Near the end of the night, Lauren comes in to check in on me, and I stare her dead in the eyes for 10 seconds straight. By the time morning has come, I am sleep deprived and debating whether I should take my own life by putting my finger in the plug with water all over it, because I do not want to do this anymore. I end up staying alive and eating breakfast. However, everyone is different in that they have lost hair and have bags under their eyes. I sit down and eat breakfast when Tom sits across from me and is talking about how lucky I am. Later that morning, the police come in and talk to Aaron, to which she said that Lauren went insane. I, however, was not allowed to talk to the cops. Aaron kept on saying she was an actress, which really sealed the deal on the fact that she was on my side. Later that day, Aaron was on the phone, to which she said that I betrayed her as I walked past her. God, I just messed up a very important operation because of my pathetic pleading. As days go by, the patients are always laughing like maniacs, especially when someone screams. I get moved to another room with a hospital bed that is plugged into the wall. I unplug that right away, obviously. One day, I hear Aaron say, "Magic fish Ganta," and she consequently says that the building is surrounded by the RCMP, saying how the staff is so messed up. I hear her make a quick scream and then nothing. 2 minutes later she says, "I am the PO," and the vans leave the building. At this point, I know she wasn't the same person. She was investigating Elizabeth. I hear everyone is laughing more than usual outside of my room, and I hear another patient tell somebody to get out of her room, then a muffled scream, along with a bunch of manic hysteria from the other patients. Later, I'm sitting by the exit door, and Aaron comes up and asks me if I'm a robot. She called Jeff, a male staff there, an android earlier. I did not reply, so she told me to commit something to memory, as at this point, I know she is an android. I don't respond. I just stay there, staring at the door. Nigel, an artilleryman in the army, was also there. However, he was cloned rather quickly, And I remember him coming up to me and saying I look like I'm bearing the world on my shoulders and that he can't read me. So days go on, and CAP needs to get a new washing machine because the other one burnt out, which leads me to believe that Aaron was talking about these people putting people into washing machines. Throughout the whole time I'm allowed passes to my family. However, they start acting weird. They are laughing when they normally wouldn't, and I notice that my dad had a pipe sticking up from the house that connects to the washing machine. I know that my dad is an android now. Damn. When I'm leaving back to CAP, I ask my dad for a lighter and put it in my pocket. When I return, the receptionist asks for my lighters, and I say I don't got any. She then says something about honesty, to which again, I say I don't have one. She never asks this when I come back, but today she did, proving that they are connected for a hive mind consciousness. Another example of this is when I'm telling Jeff about Elizabeth. She always said, these are good people, or they are good people, etc. So when Jeff said, people here are good, I knew he had something to do with Elizabeth. It was just a suspicion then. I didn't yet realize they were connected. In my final days, where stuff got intense, patients were talking about the staff torturing, killing, and eating other patients. When it is finally my day to discharge, everyone is seemingly on edge. They would look out of the windows, waiting for something, almost scared. When my ride was finally there, I got discharged and was misdiagnosed with schizophrenia or psychosis. I don't know. I can't read. The android doctor writing is way too messy. My mom was taking me back to her place, where I was going to stay for a little bit. Then there were a few black vehicles following us on the freeway. She called them stupid and sped up, while the other androids kept the feds behind them, preventing them from chasing us. So, yeah, that's about it. I have more stuff to talk about if anybody is willing. Here is the website if you are interested. I barely got out with my life. I am grateful to be alive. However, knowing that this is still going on is making me sick to my stomach. I have not contacted the police as I fear being put back in here because who the hell would believe this? I know it's hard to believe, but trust me, this is the truest happening, Fred, you will ever see in your life. This is happening. You just took this post from this other Fred, but kept the washing machine part. I had never said they were glowing green under their skin. I don't think I did. They were glowing the same as their ships, as a sort of white/yellowy bluish color. I don't have a word for it, but it was not an earth color. I speculate on the machinery, but there were bits and pieces poking out through the skin and holes in the skin due to some people's skin going necrotic. The machinery under the skin looked like a very similar stone grey as their ships. The skin was pretty contorted on their bodies in some cases, though, as I said, multiple eyes covered by the skin sometimes, or others where the skin did not exactly fit them right. They still had mouths, but I don't think it was for eating. I think perhaps it helped them grab onto people, or for the express purpose of killing or subduing them. I don't even know if they were technically alive, or if they themselves were just biological machines. Some of them really seemed like they wanted the skin as trophies more than anything though. They collected it, and some of them were wearing multiple layers, and as I said, I have no idea whatsoever as to why they would liquefy the people and put them in the dryer machines in the warehouses. Surely they had some purpose, but I do not know. It could just be as simple as storage, or perhaps some religious purpose of theirs. They seem to have some interest in Zoroastrianism, as I said. I don't even know how a breakaway civilization could fight them though. From my understanding, they were possibly the first intelligent species ever throughout all of dimensions, or one of the first anyways. I can't imagine anyone from this planet could even fathom a way to fight them. It would have had to have been someone else out there on their technological level. I have no idea what Skinwalkers is, and you give me a link. Alberta here. First of all, screw you, but you have my attention. Unfortunately, if true, I'm sorry for you. There is nothing to do. Always have a weapon. I'm beginning to suspect you made a bad decision. Those don't sound like people you are comfortable with. And now your brain is under so much stress, it goes into survival mode. It begins to see danger where there is none, because it is in overdrive. If you don't change this, you may become afflicted with a mental disorder. Well, I've been there. I think it was good that you were in the hospital, but they do drug the food, and they spread rumors. They do all kinds of weird stuff. When I was in, They would bang on the roof and walls, set off the alarms, be complete assholes, but really nice. They do this to gauge your reaction. It's cruel, but effectively determines your condition by exposing you to stress and seeing how you react. You need to understand that yeah, all of that was pretty messed up, but that's it. Make better decisions, healthy decisions. This is a true story. I hope you are recovering well. Just focus on yourself. This is real. People are going in there and being killed day in and day out, comrade. This needs to stop. I posted this a bunch to law enforcement Twitter accounts, but my account got locked. Please help. You have to spread this. If what the other guy is posting is real, then we are really screwed if we don't act now. Long story. Can you tell it concisely using these as bullet points? Androids/aliens tried to kill me at a mental facility. Why I was there, heard their schizo. Read the snips if you want more info. They are connected by a hive mind. They put people into small spaces. They will wipe out the human race. This is the only happening that matters. Okay, I'm not gonna jump to the typical, you're a schizo, but I look at it like this. If you were browsing X and you read all that you wrote, wouldn't you think it's a bit nutty? Put yourself in our shoes, amigo. Do you understand what this means? We are literally going to go extinct in the next 72 years. Look, I know this looks batshit insane, but this is my experience of what happened. And with the other Anon posting about the liquid skin, a lot of this makes sense. If it's happening, then they would not want you to blow the whistle. With the information provided, they could easily find out who you are. I know. It's my last shot at setting this right. My dude, your entire story is like a textbook schizophrenic rant. All these people are telling you they are good people because they are worried about you and can tell that you don't trust the hospital staff. You probably shouldn't post stuff like this, and if you don't want to go back there, you should consider seeing if you can get an antipsychotic prescription elsewhere, as the meds might stop you from seeing all of these people as androids. I tried antipsychotics, but it gave me brain fog and lethargy. To this day, my heart rate is higher than before. Drugs do not reverse that. I don't think you understand how much I want to believe you, man. This is real as hell. No, I ain't gonna kill people or beat up anybody. I just want people to know the truth. I've never been in a fight in my life. Mental health is a tough industry, and somebody with this level of paranoia can be hard to help. You have to balance reassurance without reinforcing delusion, and when it's your job, and there's tons of other patients to deal with, a lot of people struggle to maintain compassion with management. Part of why so many people just get totally zonked out on sedatives. If OP can find a psychiatrist outside a hospital setting, he will be better off because they won't have as much pressure as many patients. Easier said than done when somebody is in the throes of an episode. I feel for you, OP. People can help you, but you gotta take it. Man, I almost got murdered. This is not all in my head, however much I wish it was. Static electricity, sparking off blankets, police surrounding the building, people screaming for help, power getting shut off, etc., etc. Is there any legal action I can take against these monsters? One major thing that comes up on Brandon, Manitoba, is the alleged UFO sighting on March 8, 2014, but they could be flashlights or any kind of lights, and the cameraman is too calm about literally seeing alien lights, so I call bullshit. Another thing is Brandon's alien detention center. Not aliens, but immigrants, which you can read about here. Either you thought the idea of aliens in Brandon were a cool idea, or your paranoia has blinded you of the possible real situation. Well, I say aliens because I don't know if we have the tech to clone people in minutes. They could be man-made robots too, I don't know. I think it's more likely they're aliens because they tend to reference aliens and make jokes about them being aliens. Specifically, with all the alien posts on 4chan lately, something must be up. I'm not saying it's all in your head. You were in a psychiatric facility, and there were all kind of stressful things that happened there, including cops and nurses physically handling aggressive and violent patients, and people saying all kinds of weird things, and generally surreal behavior. So, I'm not approaching this from trying to tell you that none of this happened. But for instance, the hive mind stuff could easily be explained by hospital staff having protocol and training to try specific phrases and procedures. and from your family and friends having mutual goals of getting you help. And police and staff can definitely be forceful too, so if you felt aggression, that's not invalid, but they aren't trying to kill you. Other patients can also be aggressive. Doesn't mean they're aliens, clones, or androids. A psychiatric hospital is an environment where people are either mentally ill or having to manage severely mentally ill people. It's a stressful environment. Try and get a one-on-one appointment with a psychiatrist. It's a lot less stressful if you find one you can trust. Just give it a try. Most people want to help, and if you're not sick, all you'll lose is a bit of time. Well, the FBI/CSIS/RCMP agent mentioned androids. Why would she lie? She mentioned clones too. So if they are android clones, what is to stop them from being connected somehow? Should I EMP a nurse and see what happens? Lol, JK, but really, I almost got murdered by being shocked to death. How do you know they were an agent? Keep in mind, when you're in a facility like that, there are all kinds of liars and delusional personalities. Weird things are said all the time in those kinds of places. Is it possible you were given electroshock treatment? It's not terribly common, but it is still used at times. If it was something else, it could still have been an accident or negligence. I knew because she said a code word. The building was surrounded by black vehicles. You are clearly being gang-stalked. This place is a honeypot to create psychos, OP. Just leave, ignore them, defend yourself if you need be. That's it. And as you said, most of them are cowards and literally trying to get you to hurt yourself. These old computers in the picture made me remember the early 2000s, specifically IRC days. Been lurking on this board for a long time, but not posting stuff that often. I have a story to share today, not related with yours at all. It might be a little long, but stay with me. Be me in the year 2001, before 9/11, 15 years old at the time. Quite addicted to surfing the web, chatting on IRC, and lurking on forums. Ever since I was 14, seeing some strange dreams. One of them is occurring over and over, seeing this same dream at least 10 times. Be me in a park, surrounded by trees and bench seats. It is nighttime. Nobody else in there. See a glowing blue sphere coming down from the dark sky. There is a shadowy human figure inside. Cannot tell how it looks, just a shadowy human figure. His arms are open, T-shaped, and standing still inside this blue glowing sphere. It lands in front of me. Not touching the ground, but sweeping off the dust from the ground. Can feel a strong breeze coming from the sphere. It stays in front of me for a while, then rapidly flies away. When I was a 15-year-old internet addict, decided to share this in one of those UFO forums. People talk about it for a while, saying some schizo stuff, like I am getting signals into my brain. My post gets removed later in the day for not being related or something like that. One day later, get a DM from a new user inviting me to their IRC channel. During the channel, there are at least 60 to 70 people active. They all keep seeing the same dream. All details match. Blue glowing sphere, shadowy figure T-posing in the middle of a park, nighttime. What the hell? Keep spending more time with them. They are actually like-minded people. They come up with countless different theories. We talk about various stuff, including conspiracies and UFOs. Weeks later, we are just having chit-chat. Quite bored with dreams and conspiracy stuff. Spent 2 months until entire IRC server shut down for some reason. Lost contact with them ever since. I don't have much else to say, but there are a few different things I want to point out. I said we were like-minded people, but we also look similar, very weirdly. Majority of people did not feel comfortable sharing personal information, but rest of them had a lot in common. All of us were male, had pale skin, dark hair, brown eyes, and every single one of us had a birthmark near the butt cheeks. It was quite an international channel. We had people from Balkan countries, US, UK, even a few from the Middle East. We did not talk much about religion, but majority of people were either Muslim or Christian. Only a few were deists. After leaving this IRC channel, I stopped seeing these dreams, even forgot about them for a long time. I wonder where those people are and what they are doing from time to time. Pic related is something my friend and I saw just over 2 years ago. Changed my life. Pasting from another thread. Had visual snow all my life, relevant. It's just a faint layer of TV static over my vision. Never really think much of it. Nice spring day, having smoke in the garden. Talking with best friend, just having a laugh. A weird feeling comes over me, like a stranger put their hands on my shoulders. I look over at my mate, and suddenly, he looks really, really clear. At first I did not understand what I was seeing, then I realized. For the first time ever, I was seeing him without static in the way. The static was still present, but it was gathered around him quite strongly. It is his goddamn aura. I can see it emanating around him, crackling static like fire. I come straight out and tell him, asks if he can see mine. For some reason, I just know he will see mine too if he concentrates. He looks at me confused, thinks I'm schizo. Describe what I'm seeing carefully and ask him to please just try and see. He hesitates but agrees. He's a good friend. He squints for a moment, looking around me for the crackling static like I described. He pauses for a moment, his eyes widen. He sheds a tear and says, I can see yours too. Before this moment, he was a hardcore atheist that thought that magic was silly. I hug him. He is my bro, and this is a personal story, get over it. Mid-hug, we somehow feel compelled to look up. The static in the air seems to open up, as if something was coming through the other side. Pick-related appears in its full glowing glory. We both saw it. It was a band of light suspended in the air. It faced you full on, no matter what angle you looked at it from. I didn't do anything but sit in the air. Mate says it was there for 10 minutes. I thought it couldn't have been any more than 3. In any case, it was definitely an interdimensional experience. Time moved weirdly for both of us. After a while, it seemed to disappear, as if it was water going down a drain. Just glump. Do you still have the static now? In fact, I do. I have always had it, but that experience made me see that there was more to it. It's not always anything of note, but it's certainly always there. And are you still able to see auras? Occasionally, yes. It's just been 2 years for me, and I've only ever gotten glimpses. I can see the static/shape easily, but I find it hard to distinguish colors. Sometimes it just sort of comes out of people when they are emotional. My dad is a great example of someone with a clearly visible aura. He's been through a lot of stuff in his life, and at some point, 20 years ago, he decided that he was just going to be honest to himself and others, no matter what. At the start it made his life kinda crummy, but it slowly but surely made him and his life a lot happier and brighter, and now he is just a thoughtful, happy-go-lucky, super honest guy. His heart is just out in the open, you know? Every so often, he'd tell me about growing up by the Irish countryside, fishing with his dad, hunting with his granddad. He would smile wide, and his aura would flame around his head, like a lion's mane. Okay, morons. Ex-trucker here. I used to drive a logging truck in Canada and Alaska, and I have seen some stuff on the road at night. Saw a fella's head rolling down the road after his trailer got rear-ended, and he got decapitated on the edge of the pipe that he was hauling. Saw a trucker that was too drunk outside of a bar in the wintertime and wandered outside and fell in a snowbank. The flies found him in the spring, and he was all chewed up. Saw a family of 4 in a station wagon get crushed inside the car till the car was only like 5 inches long. The only supernatural sort of thing I ever saw was a ghost in an old shed that I took a crap in one time, on the side of the road, outside Tanacross. I bullshit you not. I had drank a bunch of coffee after a huge 2 a.m. breakfast. I usually squeeze out a turd if I know I am 5 hours between bathrooms. I keep a few rolls of TP in my cap. So this time, the highway from and to Fairbanks was closed till the plows came in at dawn. I knew there wasn't another bathroom for miles, and I was stuck there, idling on the side of the road. I started eyeing up places I could shit in the snow. Out to the right, I saw a small, old cabin. Maybe more of a shed. The roof was old cedar shake and had given way to snow in spots long ago. The building was leaning far enough in one direction so that the door could not even close in its frame anymore. I looked around one last time before climbing in, toilet paper in hand. As I entered the building, I was struck by how warm it was and looked around for a heat source. It was still fairly dark inside, and I could not make out anything. I listened intently and heard nothing. My bowels rumbled, reminding me why I was there. I sat between a small bench and a broken chair and dropped my pants, quickly sprayed the floor and wiped up. As I was buckling up and admiring the pattern that I left, a wave of heat hit my back. I immediately spun around. I was staring into complete blackness, darker than before. I knew I was in trouble and I had to get the hell out of there. I turned to the door, but I could not see it anymore. I went to scream for help and suddenly felt fingers on my face, hands on my chest, arms grabbing at my legs. I'm pretty sure I cried out and just ran towards where the door used to be. In the dark, it felt like 10 people were trying to hold me in the building. It felt like an hour to run the 10 feet to the door. I made it to the door, but cockeyed, and I messed my shoulder up pretty bad. I fell onto my knees into the snow, both in pain and grateful. I got up and stumbled a few times, scrambling away from the pure evil that was in that woodshed and back to my truck, covered in sweat, snow, and a few tears. This was before digital camera, but I did notice that a few years later, on the same route, the thing had tipped over completely. It was late at night when I passed it that time, and there was no way I was getting out to investigate.